right, I want to kick it off with both of you have previous experience with this, but what is the biggest challenge of playing within an existing universe?
Well, I mean, it is. Look, it was different working on. I assume you're talking about Star Trek. Star Trek was.
I didn't say it, but
Oh, I mean, Star Trek was hard when I started on Star Trek, and there have been several series since I was on Star Trek. But when I was on Star Trek, there were, I think, something like 700 hours of produced television of Star Trek before I started. So it was a much harder road to navigate. And what Legendary gave us was the Monsterverse goes back to the Toho origins in the 1950s, but the canonical universe that we had were the Legendary movies, were the 4 now soon to be 5 movies. So it as long as and to Legendary's credit, they were like, look, don't directly contradict anything or undo anything we did, but within those parameters, make your show. It's like, tell your story. And they gave us a lot of freedom to carve out our lane. And they also pointed out that those movies all fall like 4 or 5 years apart. And so there's quite a bit of air in there for us that we could sort of slip in and tell the story that we wanted to tell.
Yeah, I think that the trick is always to use canon as consistency rather than the rule of the law, and we were able to flesh out and fill in all these kind of gaps and stories that hadn't been told yet.
By the way, next question was going to be what was the most rewarding part of it, but I'm guessing that might be it.
Well, for me, it was seeing, there are a handful of shots in Gareth Edwards' 2014 film that take place on Bikini Atoll when they try to nuke Godzilla. We got to build an episode around it. It was a chance to dig into those moments of like, what was that like? Were there guys on the beach with the glasses watching and all that kind of stuff? So it was really fun to go into those moments that just as a fan was curious about, and then like, oh, we could really tell a story here.
Yeah, it was fleshing out the larger world, and that we have now 10 hours, to tell what a movie can only tell you in 2. And so that we have a longer run.
There's more of our show than there are the movies at this point, running time wise.
I think so, yeah. That we have more runway. And that and even in the first episode, when Kate arrives in Tokyo and she gets off the plane and there's Godzilla warning signs and evacuation routes this way and stuff like that, that opportunity to create a world that seems weirdly familiar, like it's the world we live in, but now suddenly it's also a world that monsters live in.
Yeah, now there are missiles on bridges.
Yeah, is that to me, and then seeing it on the screen when it was all completed and all the pieces were put together was enormously rewarding.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Although, can we please spare San Francisco as a Bay Area person? Y'all just keep, I was like, oh, Alameda. Oh, man.
Well, have you seen up to 5? Have you seen episode 5?
I have seen up to everything they've aired, so I've seen up to 8.
Okay.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, they do go back in episode 5, but we weren't able to shoot it in the Bay Area. We had to do it in Vancouver. So
yeah, it's a little expensive, but thank you both so much for your time. Congrats on the show.
Hey, thank you very much.